Hey guys, man, good to see, or glad you guys can see me. Um, I'm Jamie Rogers, and my family lives in South Carolina. And I just wanted to put these videos up um, for a couple of reasons, to do a couple of different things. One is just to tell our story from the last probably year or so, just to kind of let you guys know how we've been dealing with things that have been happening in our house, in our lives, in our family, and so I wanted to record this for our sake, to be able to go back and watch and to see, how things worked out, how we handled things, what we did when things happened, all that kind of stuff. So almost like a journal for ourselves. But I also wanted to record this and make this public for you, just to maybe help you. And so I will keep doing some of these, just to kind of let you know about some of the things that have been happening in our life. So hopefully, as you deal with things, you will be able to kind of see how we process things, and you can ask questions, you can leave comments, you can reach out, and we would be more than glad to be able to kind of talk with you guys about maybe some of the struggles that you're going through, that you're facing, and kind of tell you about how we have dealt with some of those things ourselves. The one thing I've learned in my 44 years is that basically our lives are all the same. You go through difficult seasons. I go through difficult seasons, and we face these things. And it's important to know that how we face these things, kind of helps how we deal with things moving forward. So I'm calling this first kind of video blog thing, our vlog. I'm calling this one Head Lice and House Fires. And the reason why I am doing that is because a lot of you guys who are going to watch this, our story. And then some of you guys who watch this may not know our story for what's happened to us in the last year, and some of the things that have been going on. And so I think it will make sense and here in just a second whenever I tell you why I have called this Head Lice and House Fires. 1 year ago today, actually in just a few hours, I'm sitting in our living room in our house that we have been in now for 2 years. So at the time we had just been in our house just a little over a year. We had a house fire, and that was the first time I'd ever experienced anything like that in my life. Having a house fire, dealing with all of that. And so just a year ago today, January 6th, 2020, of course, I am a campus minister at the University of South Carolina, and so already it had been a tough few months when COVID hit, especially being a minister like I am. Part of the things that we have to do is get out and meet new students, meet new people. And COVID really made that difficult, and I just knew that it had already been a long season, and I knew that it was going to be a long year, and so we were kind of heading towards the summer, trying to make plans, and then boom, a year ago, a house fire hit. But before the house fire, and kind of part of that story, and this is sort of one of the funny, it was not very funny at the time, I gotta admit, but one of the funny things now is. The reason why I'm saying head lice and house fires is because the head lice comes first. So a week before this day a year ago, we discovered for the first time, at least in our family together, several of the members of our family had head lice. And so that was not a fun week at all. And the reason why I mention that is because this is one of the only times that head lice I think people could say, hey, thank God for head lice. That's kind of how our story developed, because we were up late. It was a Saturday night last year. We were up late on that Saturday night, and the only reason we were up is because for the last time, we were digging through hair, trying to get all the lice out. And I was so ready to go to sleep. We were tired. We had been on vacation. We were just worn out. It had already been such a long week. And so on that Saturday night, I was actually getting ready to preach and teach the very next morning at a local church for the very first time as a fill-in for them without a pastor. And so I was up late helping my wife comb through our children's hair. And we started smelling something just weird. It wasn't smoky. It was just a weird, strange smell. And what we found out was it was an electrical fire. And it was in our ceiling. And I'd gone up in our attic to look and didn't see anything. But we still kept smelling that weird smell. And so we were up late, and I'd started kind of going through, and as we kept smelling the smell, I went and just turned all the power off in this room where we were. And if there is something, maybe that'll figure out. I thought maybe one of our lights might be getting hot or something like that. And a few minutes later, I looked up in one of the recessed lights in our ceiling, and I could see flickering. And this was after I had turned the power completely off at the breaker box. I knew we had a problem. So I went up in our attic, and at that time, I could see flames kind of flickering and coming above the insulation in our ceiling. And so I when I went up, I carried a blanket, and I probably grabbed the most flammable blanket in our whole house. And I told my wife when I saw the flickering through the light, I said, "Get the children out of the house, call 911." And I went through the attic over towards where I saw the flames, and I tried to hit the flame out, and was able to kind of knock it down a little bit. But then the blanket that I had grabbed started kind of getting singed with the fire, and I realized, man, this is bad news. So I just went ahead and got on out of the attic and went outside, and we waited on the firemen to get there. And so that was when we realized we had a house fire. The firemen came in and knocked some of the ceiling out originally to put that fire out, and they did without a lot of damage, very minimal damage. That was a Saturday night, and I was preaching actually in the hometown where my in-laws live, and so the fire chief, who just so happened to be my wife's cousin, who was not even supposed to be on call that night, had come in to fill in for a friend of his, and he had not seen my wife in decades, in a couple of decades. And so he came in with the firemen after they had put out the fire, or so we thought. And so when he put out that fire, he told us, he said, "Hey, listen, go to your in-laws. I will come by here I'll come by here in the morning, and I will check on your house." He said, "Listen, everything is good. We're good to go. No problems at all. We've got this thing put out." And so we did. We listened to him. We went to my in-laws' house, and the next morning, I am literally about 5 minutes away from getting on the stage to go and preach and teach at this church. I get a call from him, and he said, "Jamie, is there a way I can get in your house?" And I said, "No, what's going on?" He said, "Well, we think there may be something else going on. I just needed to get in your house." And so I told him to do whatever he had to do to get in the house. He got in the house, and when he came in, there were flames that were running down the beams in our attic again the next morning. And so they came in, knocked even more of our ceiling out to put out that fire, and thank goodness they were able to put it out before our house burned down. And just a really, really neat, weird story of even how that happened. Remember, this is my wife's cousin. Most fire chiefs, I don't think, go the very next morning to check on a house to make sure everything is okay. But he did so because he was my wife's cousin. He said he drove up in the yard. This is South Carolina, so it's hot, already in the mornings. And he said, I could see some steam, or what I thought was steam, coming off of your roof. he said, and I had gotten in my truck and was getting ready to leave, and he said, as I right before I backed up, he said, I had just seen a fire truck come by your house because one of the firemen thought that he lost his helmet at your house, that he left it here. So they came back by looking, and he said, so I knew that they were in the area. I knew that they were checking out things. And so he said, I just said, guys, would you come back here and look at this house? So they got on the roof, and they realized that it was not just steam coming off of our roof that morning, that it was smoke. So they knew that there was another fire, and that's how he knew they had to come back in our house. And so what that led to was, of course, we were out of our home for 5.5 months, the whole summer. And if you know our story, you know some of you are looking at me for the very first time with a shaved head, and you know why this is, because a house fire and head lice are not the only things that have happened in our family this past year. And so throughout these little video blogs, I will walk you through some of the other things that have gone on in our lives together. And so like I said, hopefully just so you guys can know and be assured that there's somebody else who's walking through some of the things that you guys have. And so I hope that this will be able to be an encouragement for you, just to know that we are here, and that there are other people that you can come to look for help. And so I hope just this first little installment has been I don't know what the word is. Is it encouraging? I don't know, but hopefully it will be a help to you. So man, I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you have a great week, and I will try to do another one of these soon to kind of fill you in more of our story.